Angel 1. Riker, Troy, Data, and Yar beam down to a planet ruled by a matriarchal government in the hopes of locating a missing freighter crew. So we get a bunch of Amazonian women, and they are the dominant force, and the males are not.
Yeah, they haven't really interacted with this planet much, and actually right in the opening, the people on Angel 1 say they don't want visitors.
So the women are tall, the men are short, the women are in charge.
The way they react to the culture on the planet is as if it's so strange when it's so much more normal than a lot of things they've already encountered even just in this show.
Klaxon Ries Blajblanarnik Karnik.
It's not that unusual of a civilization, just having the males and females switched around in their societal roles. And they, of course, react so ridiculously to having to interact with a male in some kind of authority position.
Is this man implying that we put a lesser value on life than you do?
So Riker walks around in the native attire.
And he can't wait to get that on?
First he can't wait to get it on, then he can't wait to get it off.
The fact that Beata is so strongly attracted to Riker when he's such like a strong male presence, the way other males on the planet are portrayed as being weaker and smaller, it seems like that's what they like. But then she's into Riker.
Riker, as a gesture of goodwill, gives Beata this really dumb-looking light globe thing
that he got at Spencer Gifts.
And she acts really impressed by it. It's a light.
No, see, she was impressed that he, as a male, was able to figure out how to turn it on.
And then they keep it between them when they bang. So maybe it serves another purpose other than just lighting up.
Yeah, it houses the glowing in it.
Picard also gets his shirt off because he was like, I'm not letting Riker have all the fun in this episode. So Picard and Worf walk past the holodeck, and Wesley and one of his friends are inside, skiing, and the doors open, and a snowball comes out and hits Picard in the face. Which again begs the question of how the holodeck actually works. How does this snowball even exit the holodeck? Did they have some sort of accident, or are their skiing clothes supposed to look like that? They look like they jumped out of the Putty Patrol.
So there's a virus going around on the ship that starts getting everybody sick that they never really explain the origin of. It has a smell that people like, and it causes them to breathe in more deeply and inhale more of the virus. As an example of how bad of a doctor Beverly is, the way she talks about the way it works doesn't make sense. It's not the way viruses work, because she says it turns into the virus once it gets into your body. But a virus is a virus. It's already a virus when it's floating around in the air. It just starts replicating when it's in your body.
They find the crew. The crew has survived, and they've taken some of the women as wives, so now they treat each other as equals.
And they don't want to leave. This is their new home, but they're stuck because they're being persecuted on the one hand and forced to leave their home on the other hand.
They can't force them to leave, so if they want to stay, there's nothing the Enterprise can do to make them leave. They can only convince them to leave on their own.
Given that they've pretty much ignored them all this time, it kind of raises that question of why.
Picard says it's very important that Starfleet maintains good diplomatic relations with this planet, but they never explain why. But we all know why. So the crew that has been stranded is located by Beata and is scheduled to be executed.
Because the way they're living their lives doesn't correspond with their societal rules.
But then Riker pulls a big diplomacy move and tries to convince them otherwise and say, maybe this is just evolution.
That's such a backwards way to try to negotiate there, to say, maybe you're behind the times, maybe you need to change.
Maybe this revolution is really evolution. And he only said that because they rhymed. I would say it's a typical Starfleet stance.
So when they're discussing the situation, Riker actively wants to violate the Prime Directive so that he can save the survivors of the Odin.
Removing any of these people against their will would be a violation of several Starfleet regulations, not the least of which would be the Prime Directive.
I realize that, Mr. Data.
Aren't they about to beam all of them out and violate the Prime Directive? And Riker says, stand by for my signal to get everybody out of here?
I want you to lock in the transporter. Prepare to evacuate the entire group.
And the way they execute people is having them stand on this V that shoots energy out and kind of dematerializes them or something.
They easily could have done what they did in GoldenEye, Xenia Onatopp, and she kills him by sex.
The way they activate the execution machine is by holding up a crystal globe and just putting their hand down on top of it. What if he accidentally drops it? What's going to happen? How does that work? Why not have just a switch?
What if he was accidentally holding the sex globe thing?
Yeah, and then a glowing radioactive popped out of it.
They stole that crystal ball from the Wicked Witch of the West. You're gonna have so many copyright claims on this bitch. Oh, it's gonna be awesome. So then, as is typical, the Federation viewpoint wins out, and the matriarchy allows the group to live on their own just far away. And they say maybe someday we'll catch up to the Federation in terms of values and morals.
The way Riker presented his arguments was not very effective.
The Resistance group does state that there are a lot of others who feel this way, they're just afraid to speak up. Angel 1.
I'd say a C+. It's better than some of the more ridiculous episodes that we got earlier. An episode Better Left Forgotten.
I'd give it a C. I'd say it's straight average.
Riker bangs a female character for the first time. Not that he's banged a male character. And Data once he figures out how to turn him off. I'm just assuming.
Human-robot relations. Every time C-3PO shows up, they're like, all right. But then when they realize cyborg-human relations just means I'm going to talk to, they're all like, oh, man. And then when he says, this is my counterpart, and they're like, oh, man, that little droid's getting on it too. But then they're like, oh, man.